We turn now to the crash of a Russian passenger jet in Egypt last week that killed 224 people. Sources tell CBS News that U.S. intelligence believes it is now likely the Russian plane was brought down by a bomb. Joining us now is CBS News senior security contributor and former #2 at the CIA, Michael Morell. Mike, how can they know that how can they get to likely without actually having access intelligence to the crash site?
Right. So I think we're talking about the communications that are being intercepted of the conversations among the terrorists, right? And early on, there was just chatter. There was just individuals congratulating each other, and that wasn't enough to get you to a bomb on the aircraft because it could be circular, right, with the claim of responsibility by ISIS. But now I think you're getting to more senior conversations among ISIS, conversations among guys who would be in the know, right, that they actually did this. So I think that's what's pushing us from a possibility to likely.
What does this tell us? What are the implications in terms of what this tells us about ISIS, and have they shifted?
Yeah. So I think this is very, very significant. This will be only the third aircraft brought down by a bomb in the last quarter century. This is a very big deal. The largest loss of life in a plane brought down by a bomb since Pan Am 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland. I think the implications are many here. One is it's going to add to the perception that ISIS is winning, and that has been a key strength of theirs in terms of attracting followers, attracting recruits. So that's one implication. Another is that ISIS now has about 20 different affiliates around the world, militant groups who have aligned themselves with ISIS. They're now going to be competing, right, for who can do something like this. And then you have Al-Qaeda, which since 9/11 has worked very hard to try to bring down an airliner. They've been unsuccessful. This must be kind of a message to them that we need to do something like this to keep our brand alive, right? And then the last implication, I think, is in Russia, where there will be two dynamics. One is there will be voices saying, our intervention in Syria brought this on, so there'll be a little bit of a political blowback against Putin. But I think at the same time, you're going to see Putin's reaction of, I'm going to get revenge here, right? I'm going to go after ISIS big time to make it clear to them that I'm not going to stand for something like this.
If the military operations against ISIS have been taking place in Syria and Iraq, what you've described, though, is an affiliate network. Right. If you go in Syria and Iraq, what about all these other places?
Right. So as I said, there's been militant groups in about 20 countries that have always existed, that have been focused on local targets, that have been focused on local issues, that when ISIS was doing exceptionally well, they decided to brand themselves as ISIS. They decided to go with the winning team, so to speak, right? The consequence of that is that they're no longer just focused on local issues. They're now focused on the broader war. They're no longer just going after local targets, right? They're going after more international targets. This is a perfect example of that. I think we're going to see more of it.
What about U.S. targets?
I think we've already seen it, right? One of the ISIS groups in Libya several months ago went after an international hotel in Tripoli, frequented by international businessmen. An American was killed there. So I think you're going to see more of that kind of attack, including attacks against Americans.
And in terms of the Russian response, what's your sense of, you outlined a couple of different responses. What's your guess about what Putin does?
I think he uses this to try to rally, right, the Russian people to follow him. But I think there will be people in Russia, particularly among the middle class, who believe that he's taking the country in the wrong direction, who are going to speak up a little bit about what's happening here.
In about the last 30 seconds we have, there was a report that Politico reported Friday that Hillary Clinton's emails were not actually classified material. If it's possible, taking the politics out of it, does that surprise you, that judgment?
John, it does not. The working level people in the intelligence community whose job it is to look at a piece of paper and decide whether that's classified or not are really good people. They're really working hard, but they have a bias towards saying something is classified. Why? Because they only get in trouble when they look at something that is classified and say it's not. So they have a bias, right, in favor of saying it's classified. I have personal experience with this on both sides. So when I was deputy director of CIA, I often was the adjudicator, looking at a judgment somebody made and saying, no, that's not classified. And then when I wrote my book, I was on the other side, and I had senior people saying, that's not classified.
All right, Michael Morell, thanks so much.
Good to be with you.